I hope you can hear that over the sound of the fridge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that was a waste of a tea bag.
Yep.
But, you know, that's okay.
Yep, that's how we roll. So, welcome back to episode 16 of Controllers and Couches. I'm FullMetalChicken.
And I am Stephfafahh. And whatever, we bought these new tea bags today because we're at the supermarket and I like the look of the box. And we've been eyeing off new sleepy time teas. And this is the Twinings Asher Sleep Time Chamomile, Peppermint, Spearmint and Lemon Peel. And it's a 30-gram box and it's got like 18 tea bags in it. And it says, relax and unwind with the smooth, dreamy taste of our carefully crafted organic herbal infusion. So I thought we'd try it because it kind of smells... It smells nice. It smells like peppery but not.
Yeah.
What you got in it, bro? We've got organic chamomile 30%, organic spearmint 25%. Oh, that would be the peppery smell, the spearmint and the peppermint. Yeet! So, how are you?
I've been editing. I've been working on trying to get stuff back up for my channel. So anyone who's listening and is interested in uploads that are coming, just because of time constraints and stuff, I've been working on another music video.
AMV.
Yeah, AMV. Which I'm doing to the Glitch Mob, and it's kind of a Star Wars mashup. So, yeah, it's kind of a rush job to see how quick I can get it done, because it's been a while since I've
When he says rush
something.
job, we mean he's been working on stuff for 4 years. That's just sitting there.
Yeah. So this one I've started 2 days ago. So it was
what percentage, if you were a loading bar, what percentage loaded would you be?
At this point, I think I'd probably be about 15%.
And how many hours would you estimate you spent?
I reckon so far I've probably spent about 8 hours, 10 hours.
Oh, I reckon I could get... It wouldn't be the same quality as yours, but I reckon I've done 3 or 4 AMVs in like a space of 8 hours.
And I think the problem with mine is because
you sync everything.
I try and sync everything.
Whereas me, I try and tell more of a story, and mine's more of like a movement, whereas yours is like chop, 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 chop.
Yep.
Jump cut, jump cut, jump cut, swoosh.
Yeah, so there's lots of swooshing and lots of jump cuts.
So,
yeah, that's pretty much been that. I haven't read anything except journal articles.
Which probably not many people are interested in.
So,
just been in the lab.
Yeah.
Enjoying the air conditioning.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Aircon and this heat. Plants are dying.
I can't deal. I mean, I like it.
Yeah, so somewhere where there's snow.
Please, let's move to Canada. Floofs.
Canada.
Pack your things.
Off to
Canada.
Canada.
You get a suitcase that you all get to share.
And then we get to blame
get to
Canada.
take one thing.
Blame Canada.
Seriously though, my umbrella melted last Friday. I was walking home in the... Was it Friday? No, Thursday, sorry. I was walking home in the 43-degree heat. And I thought I'd be smart. And I thought I'd bring my umbrella out. And it literally was so warm that it melted. And then it snapped in half.
Jeez.
So I need to get a new umbrella. Oh, I knew there was a reason why I needed to go to a reject shop today. God damn it. Oh well.
Yeah, that was
Beautiful.
Intense.
In terms of the lab, we've been doing a lot of sectioning.
Yeah.
Using a lot of the microtome.
Yep.
I'm feeling a bit more confident with it. I think I got my ribbon max down to 15.
Nice.
So doing pretty well.
Very well.
MKR started Sunday. Haven't watched a single episode yet.
Yep. Nothing.
Which is the first time in years, but that's, that's alright. Funny story, Sunday, I was having a massive cleaning session, and I got sunburnt, and when I say a massive cleaning session, I mean like 7 hours, and I did like 5 loads of washing, and I'm running in and out of the house. And this man, he messages me, I reckon it was about 5 o'clock, and he's like, oh, we should do the podcast tonight. And I'm like, oh, I didn't have like the research, quotation marks research, simple Google search ready.
Yeah.
That I wanted to do. So I'm like, oh, I'll add it to my list and I'll just, swap doing this out for doing this. And then this guy decided, nah, we're not going to do it Saturday night. No, we're not going to do it Monday night, as in yesterday. And he didn't want to do it today either.
Yeah.
And then I've gone, sorry, mate. I need to edit this on Wednesday morning. So, yeah, here we are. But I got sunburnt.
Which is
and I haven't been sunburnt in years. Not terribly, but like enough to notice that it's there.
Yeah. Very much so.
In terms of book updates for me, I'm currently still stuck on the same place in Jacora, which is the third book in the I forget what's it called, Madoran Chronicles by Lynette Noni. But I started Passion, which is the third book in the Fallen series. I read books 1, books 2 like last year, ages ago. But I needed to actually physically read book 3 and book 3.5 because they're not on the audiobook catalogue for the Borrowed Box app. So I can't give myself spoilers. Like I have to read the books in order.
Yeah.
And I got through the first 3 books in the House of Night series over the weekend. And I just finished Hangman by Jack Heath, which was an insane rollercoaster ride. It's like a cannibalistic Dexter meets Sherlock Holmes, but a bit more Criminal Mindsy, sort of. But look, it wasn't fantastic. I'd give it like 3 stars, but it was twisted the way they did things, and I guess I could appreciate that.
Yeah.
In terms of gaming, 9, I wanted to get that. What is it? Resident Evil 2 remaster, remake, whatever it's called. And we just kept putting it off because right now you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yep.
And I didn't want to throw you off your game. But, you know, to each their own. We'll get there eventually.
Yes, we will. But, I haven't played any games except Assassin's Creed. But
I haven't even checked in on my base in like 4 days for
like
Clash.
Tiny amounts. And I mean, I need to get back into some Call of Duty, but it's just all it does is update.
They keep advertising that all the old maps that were on Black Ops 2 are coming back to Black Ops 4, and I'm like, oh, you know, the maps are back, and then I find out that it's only on Blackout.
Which is, yeah,
which ain't
a bit
my
of a
game
letdown
type, but, you know, do with it what you will, I guess.
Yeah.
I suppose. Alright, ready for today's quiz?
Yep.
Everyone, it'll be linked in the description if you want to take it with us. But today we are doing the I bet we can accurately guess your zodiac sign based on the movies you pick. So, hashtag, not that I say that, I don't think horoscopes, the be all. I thought you were going to pick on me for the way I just said that.
No.
The be all or end all, I just thought it was funny. I just wanted to see how accurate the algorithm would be.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, first of all, we're going to pick a movie.
I'm an Aries, point out.
So, we got Legally Blonde.
You have to say what you are before you do the quiz.
But I'm 2.
You're not 2.
Okay, I'm a Leo.
You're not, though.
But I'm a Leo, though.
But you're not.
But I am.
But you're not.
But I'm legitimately a Leo.
But no, you're not. I swear to God, you're a Virgo.
Nah, I'm a Leo.
You're on the 23rd.
Yeah, which is a Leo.
Which is a Virgo.
No.
It's a Virgo.
No, it's a Leo.
It's the Virgo.
Trust me, there's ones that say...
Yeah, I get what you mean about the Virgo, Leo Virgo, whatever the hell,
it depends on which one it's done by.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No, Western Zodiac, you're a Virgo. I don't care what you say.
Well, you know, there's ones here where it says it's the cusp, 16th to the 23rd.
Well, but it doesn't work like... Alright, whatever. Alright, so...
Yeah.
Question 1. Pick a movie. Legally Blonde, Notting Hill, Just Go With It, Bring It On. Legally Blonde for show.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bring It On.
Oh, you like a good cheerleader?
Let's see.
You're not having fun today.
Yeah. Born
no
Identity.
Jokes.
I think I'm losing my voice.
You think? God.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm going for the Born Identity.
Then there's The Notebook.
Then there's
Bird Box. Moulin Rouge.
Yep.
Def's Born Identity.
And then there's the next one, which is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wait,
Sorry.
pick another movie. Why? I just don't understand why have all the superheroes in one. You know. Set of 4, have all the romantic shit in a set of 4, have action, like Moulin Rouge does not fit with Born Identity or Bird Box.
No.
Then there's Guardians of the Galaxy for the next set of 4, Aaron Brockovich, Crazy Rich Asians, or Suicide Squad. Oh shit. Yeah. I'm gonna go for the Suicide Squad.
I'm going Guardians.
Okay. Pick one more movie. Forrest Gump, Gladiator, Pride and Prejudice, and you already know which one I'm going for. Twilight.
Yeah, I'm going Gladiator.
Alright, what you get?
I got Capricorn, so yeah, they're way off.
I got Pisces. That's like a complete opposite. They recommended me a water sign. I'm not a water sign.
That's a bit fishy.
I'm a fire sign. I know, a bit fishy if you do say the least. Alright. That was a bust.
Yep, that was crap.
10 out of 10, not accurate again. But you know what was accurate? My prediction that I wasn't really going to like. The Halloween sequel that came out in October that we never got around to see because you kept cancelling on me.
Yep.
So yesterday I just went up and bought the DVD because it was $19.95, but JB were having a 20% off DVDs and Blu-ray sale. So I got it for like $15. But we already have the rest of the Halloween movies on DVD. So I think my favourite is Halloween H20. And Josh Hartnett wasn't in it.
Nope.
I can't remember where Josh Hartnett's character fits in the Halloween franchise. You know, it's a podcast, you're supposed to talk.
I'm just trying to think, but was he in it?
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to remember now. Yeah.
Don't even play me like that.
I'm trying to think.
Apparently there's a timeline here. That's not a good timeline. Dead set though. I know this. I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, I've had a conniption. Or Halloween H20 20 years later. Who's in it? Give me the cast. I don't trust Wikipedia.
Yeah, so he's in.
He was.
Yeah, H2O.
John Tate. What did he have to do with? Is this spoilers? It can't be, right? It came out in 1998. So that was my brother's birthday. How old's my brother? He's turning 21 this year. What on earth?
Yeah, so Johnny Boy, he played.
John.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in it. John. What on earth?
Yeah, so...
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, so is he one of the kids?
Yep.
Laurie's... No! She's his son!
Well, he's her son.
Yes, that's the word. Laurie's son, John, and his girlfriend, Molly. So did the kid die?
Yep. All to do with camping.
No, but did the kid die?
From memory, yes.
Yeah, I think. Alright. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Josh Hartnett, though. Alright. But all in all, what do you reckon? I reckon it's about a 7? Maybe a 6 out of 10.
I give it a 7.5.
It was alright. I really liked the intro card, how it was the reverse of like the moulding and collapsing of the jack-o'-lantern. Like the Halloween pumpkin, carved pumpkin. That was pretty cool.
Yep. Halloween.
Are you just going to sit here braiding your bloody sideburns?
It's more the fact that every time I hear Halloween, I think of pumpkins. So why don't they make a horror pumpkin movie?
I'm pretty sure they have. I don't know, man. Get on it. Make yourself millions.
Yes.
TV show reviews. Hit us with some.
Let's see. What have we watched recently? Well, funnily enough, I was watching Voltron. Yeah. That's just because I grew up with Voltron as a kid, and I think I mentioned this in a few podcasts ago. But yeah, it was more like 2 seconds of an episode. So yeah, that doesn't really count. We finished
Tornado Hunters.
Yes, we did. That was an absolute whirl.
Oh, you're so punny.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to season 2,
which is yet to be announced.
The bit where they have like the massive, just like last episode, massive spoiler alert, massive tornado.
Yeah.
And it's like, just drive closer, and you think, yeah, great. Although you got bulletproof, side panels, I don't think you're going to go very, very well if that thing lifts you up and throws you.
I don't know if things have changed, but I thought that the legit people that chase tornadoes had essentially tanks that bolted into the ground, and like the arms would come out of the side of the truck and they stuck into the ground.
They probably
and
do.
Stuff. So to see essentially a
4x4
redneck Toyota Hilux, I was a little bit unsure of the safety.
Bogan Tornado Hunters.
You know what I did rewatch though? Yummy Mummies. Only season 1 though, because they put it on Netflix, and I started playing it on, was it Friday? before you went off to work, and you were like, what is this trash? You didn't even understand what was going on.
Yeah,
but
I was like, what?
Yeah, they've only got season 1 on there thus far, but I just rewatched it because I had nothing else to do.
Oh, they're putting some crap on TV these days. It's so scary. Very scary.
What's the last crap thing you watched on TV?
That
What's your take on it?
Pointless. It was like I literally felt my brain melting and then, sliding.
Who's your favourite mummy?
None of them. They just all Muppets. It's like just high-pitched whining, you know. It definitely gave Versace a really bad rap. Like, really, really, really bad rap.
It's all scripted, though. I don't think that those are their real personalities.
No, that was dodgy as. But, there's, like, a few other things coming out on Netflix. Like,
Discovery.
Yeah.
Which we haven't watched last week's episode or this week's episode. There's
David Attenborough, Dynasties.
Oh yeah, that's
that
right.
looks interesting.
But that's TV. Like, we were watching the tennis last week, and you're like, oh, can you put, like, you were trying to show me some funny video, and I was watching some shit on my own phone, and then I paused that, and you're like, oh, pause the TV, and I'm like, mate, that's not how live TV works, and you're like, oh, because we only really ever have live TV on.
Yeah.
At, like, the start of the year, because NKR is on, the tennis is on.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much it. But yeah. And we've just started I don't think you were watching because you've been editing, but we finished the first episode of the Ted Bundy tapes series that's on Netflix at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of that.
So, one episode down, like 10 minutes into the second one. But I did finish on Saturday night Flint Town, which is one of... Well, it's back on the list now. Back on, I think, the 2017 list. Of one of the most dangerous towns of US. Okay, like the FBI's most dangerous towns list.
Jeez.
And it's like, when people talk about the government not supporting their own people, and it makes sense why people say that, because have you heard of the Flint water crisis?
No.
Okay, so it's not really a spoiler, but if you don't want to watch the whole, I think it's 8 or 9 episodes, if you don't want to watch the whole series, I understand. I did it because I literally had nothing else to do. But there is, if you watch the first episode, you pretty much get everything that you need to get from it. It all makes sense in the first episode, but then it goes further into the timeline because it was filmed over 2 years in the town of Flint, Michigan. And they're basically below the poverty line. They have 300 officers. They had 300 officers before the filmings took place to serve 100,000 people.
Far out.
And basically, they break every single rule book in police code. They go to call-outs by themselves.
Jeez.
Because there's just not enough to go around. So if you're waiting for a police officer, you're waiting in upwards of like 12 hours for someone to come and help you.
So why don't they put in, more police officers?
Because they have no money.
Jeez.
In their budget and stuff. But then they have a millage, and they had to... Because when they were voting for Trump and shit...
Yep.
They did a millage at the same time. And that's pretty much whether they... Like, the government's... Like, the town's budget would go... Like, already went towards the police and the fire department. And then the people had to re-elect whether they wanted it to happen again.
Yep.
Otherwise, they would lose the police and more fireys and stuff like that. But the bit that got me was the fact that, so this town, and I think it was a couple of other surrounding towns, they were planning on like switching to this cheaper water system, purifying system that all of them were going to use.
Yeah.
Because obviously the towns that are a lot poorer, people couldn't afford things, so they wanted to cut back on rates. So they flipped their water from the lakes. I think it was... So I can't remember exactly... Yes, that's right. They flipped their water from the lakes to the Flint River.
Okay.
And when they did that, they went over, like, I can't remember how many times. Hold on, sorry. Before I talk shit, hang on. Sorry.
So I'm assuming they went over budget by...
Honey, you wish they went over budget. They went over the lead count. They went over 20 people, like, I can't remember how many kids were exposed to extraordinarily high levels of lead poisoning.
So why
because it was going to provide them cheaper rates. And so when they flipped the water over, it plays in the actual documentary, I think it was the first or second episode, where the governor or the mayor, the governor of the Schneider, whatever the hell his name was, what was his name? Oh God, what's his name? Yeah, former Governor Rick Schneider. So you see him press the button, which flips the water supply, and it changes. So not only was the water contaminated in the Flint River, and it wasn't treated properly.
Yeah. Which is
as
dumb.
People were drinking it, they had to put more chlorine in it because people were getting sick.
Yeah.
So they had to put, and you know how when you add too much chlorine in it, and then you get the what do they call them? The trihalomethanes, because you're just overloading the chlorine and you're not giving enough time to purify, to clean out all the bacteria. Tons of people got Legionnaires. People got the coliform bacteria, which is absolutely freaking not only disgusting, but it's very, very hard to clean that out when it's like in sanitarily, like in terms of food and water supply. It's very hard to get rid of that. And extraordinarily large amounts of lead to like the almost complete, obviously the 1,000 people that lived in that town. But the reason why the lead happened is because when they switched the water, they didn't add the treatment to it to make sure the lead pipes would not corrode.
Yeah, so
the water got the water switched down the pipes and literally shredded the pipes, and people were pulling out, and iron was in it as well. So people were filling up you can smell that shit, and you can obviously see that shit. You'd know straight away.
Yeah.
And like even with Melbourne water, you know when it gets warm, and you can tell because the water starts to smell more chloriney.
Yeah.
And it tastes more chloriney. So that's what that is. But people, they were saying that 6,000 to 12,000 kids were exposed to lead. It was a public health state of emergency. There were 4 resignations, 4 firings, 5 suspensions, 15 criminal indictments from political officials, and 12 people died from Legionnaire's disease.
That's really
right?
bad.
And they covered it up for months. So people were...
So essentially why they were trying to fix and figure out what the hell was going on, just...
While they were adding more shit to the water to try and purify it and clean it out, right? So they're adding more chlorine and shit to it.
Yep.
People were getting that too. So they're adding shit, and they went on and they did another interview, and again, this was in the documentary, and they're like, oh no, our water's fine. But the water that they were drinking was bloody clear. Everyone else is they showed bottles and glasses of the water that was coming out. It was brown. Some people's were black and really purple and disgusting. So basically everyone in that town had to switch to bottled. I think they have better quality water now. They had to switch to bottled water for cooking, showering, drinking, everything.
Well, another thing too is in October of 2014, the General Motors truck assembly plant had to discontinue the water because the chlorine was literally corroding the engines.
Their bloody stuff, because they were using it because you need it to cool everything down when you mould everything.
That's...
They literally... I can't remember what GM did, but GM bought water in from somewhere else because it was eating metal like car parts.
Yeah, and that's that.
What's that? If it's eating that, if it's corroding that? What's it doing to your citizens' bodies?
Yeah, that's massive public liability. Massive. And then what's the point when, you know, the contamination level is above FDA, you know, standards? Why? That's just stupid. You know, you've got to literally quadruple the amount of funding now to fix the problem.
Well, apparently they did fix it. A lot of people got like charged with conspiracies and stuff, but apparently, like they only filmed 2 years of the 2 years worth of the town.
Yep.
Like, so it wasn't really. It did give some stuff, but it didn't really say, like how everything got fixed and all that sort of stuff. But it was.
That's a massive.
Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah.
Breach of security and stuff.
Breach of everything.
But yeah, it was just really heartbreaking. So, I had one story that I really want to just the light-hearted stuff before we get onto the stupid stuff, because I don't really know how to transition from that. But I have something that I wanted to share before we get into our our actual podcast topic tonight. And before I get started, like, I just want to point out that this is not me shaming anyone. I absolutely love pasta, and but apparently the new trend is baby gender reveals with lasagna.
Okay.
So I've put a link there, but so basically they colour the cheese.
But the thing is, are they blowing up the cheese?
No, they're not. What is that sound? Do you hear that?
Yeah, someone's doing burnouts nearby.
That's absolutely stupid. But anyway, so these people are dyeing the cheese and putting it in lasagna, and then like, oh, let's cut our lasagna. Oh, it's a boy. Oh, it's a girl. And I've just gone, how much cheese are you bloody putting in your lasagna? Like, is that all you're putting in your lasagna to make it that colour?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but my lasagna is red because I put a lot of tomato sauce in it. But
yeah, I don't think I could eat blue lasagna.
You eat blue cheese?
Not very often.
You cheese here. Give us a taste test.
It's still probably... Yeah, it's still really hot.
Oh,
I'm a pansy.
Taste test.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not looking bad. Don't buy it. If he says it's not bad, it tastes like a sewer. Does it taste like a sewer?
No. You can taste the peppermint.
Well, yeah, it's got 2 types of mint in it, mate.
No.
Alright, so, are we ready? Do you have any questions, anything else you want to say before we get into the thick of it?
No, that's cool.
Also, I'd like to present this from a point where I know you're going to be really sarcastic and edgy, but we need to be a bit more devil's advocate-y, okay? I don't want to make people upset. People actually have to listen to this. So we're going to play it from both sides of the story. But before we start, what are your thoughts on, drumroll please, the Area 51 conspiracy?
Well, personally...
So what have you heard about it, right? So what do you know before I go into it? And are you a believer?
The classic one we heard about the whole Area 51, the main thing was, oh, it's a crashed weather balloon. Oh, crashed weather balloon. Oh, the balloon crashed. Oh. I legit think... I think I've played too many games. 1. 2, flying saucers, you know, round things like a frisbee. I think a lot of this stuff that's just crashed out in fields is pretty much just the military testing advanced, you know, aircraft and weapons and all that sort of stuff. So, I don't think there's like any alien craft running around. I think it's just a, you know, as it states, it's just a military testing facility. So,
alright, so to me, it makes sense that you'd want a place that's so out of the way, but it's still close to other testing sites like nuclear and whatnot that they have there. But before I started researching this, in quotation marks, I knew that they tested flight craft out there, and I'm pretty sure that's where what's that?
SR-71 Blackbird, that was tested. That was tested,
I'm pretty sure. I remembered reading that. And as a kid, I kind of really wanted to believe that they did have alien tech out there. and that they were kind of reverse engineering alien technology and like that they were testing aliens out there.
Yeah.
But come on.
Dan
Bilzerian would have broken in. If this was real, Dan Bilzerian would have broken in.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And had a look around the place.
Alright, so do you have any questions before we get started? What are you hoping to learn from my expose?
See, I'm a big fan of it.
Seriously, stop touching your sideburns. It's creeping me out.
Yeah. So essentially, you look at Area 51, you look at Nevada, you look at what's out there. It's just lots and lots of open space.
Yeah.
So essentially, there's not many, residential areas. There's lots of open flats. Most of it's just desert, salt, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you're going to be testing aircraft, there's lots of space for you to just do it. And
low... crash into anything.
Yeah.
You're not going to be interfered by, like, civilians and stuff.
And you can see things coming a long way off.
True. Alright. But what are you hoping to learn? The aliens are real?
Yeah. No, they're probably not. It's just...
Okay. Alright, you ready?
Yep.
Buckle up. So, the United States Air Force facility, commonly known as Area 51, is a highly classified and remote detachment of the Edwards Air Force Base, which is within the Nevada Test and Training Range. But according to the CIA, ignore my floofs. Excuse me, Shells. I know you hear me, buddy. It's not for you to play with. Playing with the strap of your laptop bag. So according to the CIA, the official names for the facility are Homey Airport and Groom Lake. Homey Airport? So if it's an airport, can I go there, you ask?
No.
Though the name Area 51, it was originally used in a CIA document from the Vietnam War, and it's also been referred to as Dreamland or Paradise Ranch.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun! But United States Air Force Public Relations has referred to the facility as an operating location near Groom Dry Lake, and the special use airspace around the field is referred to as Restricted Area 4808. My son, it's a piece of grass. Calm down. Area 51 itself, it happens to be located in the southern portion of Nevada, in the west, which is obviously part of the western United States. 83 miles, or for all of our metric brethren out there, 134 kilometers northwest of Las Vegas. So in its centre, you've got the southern shore of Groom Lake, and it's obviously a very large military airfield. It was acquired by the US Air Force in 1995, primarily for, again, the flight testing of Lockheed aircraft. The area around the base, which includes the small town of Rachel, and obviously the extraterrestrial highway, which is a massive, apparently, tourist destination. The base's current primary purpose is publicly unknown. However, based on historical evidence, it most likely supports the development and testing of experimental aircraft and weapon systems and black projects. And they think that they have their own airport there, so that way they can traffic things in and out without like civilian interference and that kind of thing. You
have to go for border, control. Oh, actually, no, they'd have their own.
That, and you don't have to like transport it, but from Vegas, 134 k's to where you need it to be.
Yeah.
Your offload storage site is a lot closer. So the intense secrecy surrounding the base has made it to the frequent subject of conspiracy theories like ourselves, and it's obviously a central component to UFO folklore, or UFP, I think it is now. Is UFP the new term?
I've heard that a little bit.
Unidentified flying phenomena. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's switching to that now.
So although the base has never been declared as a secret base itself, all research and occurrences in Area 51 are always marked as top secret or sensitive compartmented information. But on June 25, 2013, following a Freedom of Information Act, which was a request filed in 2005, the CIA publicly acknowledged the existence of the base for the first time and declassified some documents detailing the history and purposes of Area 51. So basically, they call it a groom box, and it's a rectangular area that's about 37 by 40 kilometres or 23 by 25 miles of restricted airspace, and it's connected to the internal Nevada test site road network, and it's got paved roads that lead south to Mercury, which I think is a town, and west to Yucca Flat. So leading northwest from the lake, there's a wide and well-maintained Groom Lake Road that runs through a pass called Jumbled Hills, rather. And then there are apparently mines there that they've closed. So, what? Did they dig and find something there, you may ask? I don't know. Let's break it. No, actually not. So, basically, if you travel there, you get to a security checkpoint, and there's obviously restricted area around the base. And if you leave it, you go like eastward, they say, and you pass a dirt road entrance to several small like ranches and homes and that kind of thing, and then apparently you get back on the state route 375, which is the extraterrestrial highway. So Area 51 itself, it shares the border with Yucca Flat, which is a region of the test site, and that's where the United States Department of Energy conducted nuclear tests.
Yeah.
So, also there is a nuclear waste repository, which I think is about 71 k's or 44 miles away from that. So it even makes sense, because a lot of those planes, do they run on nuclear energy? The weapons are definitely nuclear energy.
Well, you got nuclear missiles that they're always running around and carrying, so it'd be interesting to know.
It would make sense, I suppose.
Yeah.
So in terms of the origin of the name, they don't know why they chose the number 51 specifically, but the most accepted, reasoning, I guess you could say, comes from a grid numbering system that the Atomic Energy Commission chose. But then they say Area 51 isn't part of this. It's just that likely that it was Area 15.
Yeah.
But then in administration, the numbers got jumbled, and someone accidentally wrote 51 instead of 15.
Yeah.
Because it seems unlikely that the Atomic Energy Commission would ever use that number, allegedly. So apparently that site began in service. So then they say, it began in service at 1955 or whatever. Is that right? 1955? Is that what we read earlier? Because the site was acquired by the US Air Force in 1955. But then they also say that the airfield began service in 1942 as the Indian Springs Air Force Auxiliary Field, and they had two unpaved 5,000-foot runways aligned at northeast-southwest and northwest-southeast. So I guess the airport was there before Area 51
and it just must
itself was there, and then they just added to it, built next to it. So the Groom Lake Test Facility was established in April of 1955, obviously by the CIA, as we said, for Project Aquatone, which we will get into more aircraft projects further on, obviously down the line. But Aquatone was for the development of the Lockheed U-2, which is a strategic... is? Do they still have them around? I don't know. Strategic recon aircraft, pretty much. And the director was given, obviously, extreme secrecy when they were carrying out the project. So the flight testing, the pilot training, everything couldn't be conducted at the Edwards Air Force, or the Lockheed's Palmdale facility. And they pretty much, wanted extreme security for everything that they were doing, which I guess makes sense, especially if you're trying to keep things away from what your enemies are and stuff, because you don't want them to know what you want. So basically they did everything there, and then Lockheed sent the engineers, Lockheed sent all the inspectors out and paid for them all to go there to do what they needed to do, and they made a strip to test aircraft, and then they pretty much, people were going. And because there's a mountain range, or this range of hills or whatever it is, called Immigrant Valley, and that used to be on the perimeter. So then the government took that land So where people couldn't get on the hills and look with binoculars to see what they were doing.
Yeah.
So over time, Area 51 has just been growing larger in size.
Yeah.
Because people, I can't drive up. I'll climb the hill.
Yeah.
Or mountain or whatever the hell that is there. I don't know how tall a hill has to be before it's considered a mountain. I think it's 1,000 feet. But I could be wrong. Let's find this out. Difference between a hill and a mountain. If you can spell Stephanie, that would be fine. Yeah. I was right. 1,000 feet or 300 meters, according to the nationalgeographic.com Earth Science. So, whatever. Oh my god. I know things. Yay. So basically, apparently they regularly acquire more land. I don't know if that means that they buy it or if they just spread their perimeters.
Maybe they just expand the perimeters.
But, whatever. So, basically, during the Cold War, one of the missions carried out by the US was a test and evaluation of a captured Soviet fighter aircraft. And then in the late 1960s and for several decades after, they pretty much acquired a lot of Soviet-built aircraft.
Yeah.
And they had their own kind of testing of foreign technology there that began during World War II. And then after the war, the Air Technical Intelligence Center, who became very influential during the Korean War, they pretty much did... So they broke it down, right? And using some of that technology, they made the Lockheed Have Blue prototype stealth fighter.
Which was extremely fast.
So, if it works, that's what it's there for, because you want to reverse engineer stuff. You want to take the shit that works and you want to build on it, because that makes sense. So, basically, they called that the, what am I talking about? Oh my god. So it was a prototype stealth fighter at the time. And then when it became operational in 1983, the operations at Groom Lake have pretty much kept going after that. So the base and its runway system, they've obviously expanded because of the land and everything like that. And you can have people that work there, so you need to have housing, you need to have support facilities. Apparently they have a pool, they have tennis courts, they have mock shop mall there or something or other. They say that there's a theatre in there. Apparently they can tell that there's a bowling alley in there. Yeah. And a ton of other stuff.
Well, if you're out in the desert, there's not much else you can do, really. So
yeah, pretty much. So, any land that gives you an overlook of the base is pretty much prohibited access.
Yeah.
So, what you gonna do about it, I guess. So, on October 22nd of 2015, a federal judge signed an order giving land that belonged to a Nevada family who had been there since the 1870s to the Air Force because they wanted to obviously do some expansion. And according to the judge, the land that overlooked the base was taken to address security and safety concerns connected to their training and testing. So we hear that all about the time, I guess, for roads and other infrastructure like that. But obviously it would be heartbreaking. This land has been in your family. So what's from 2015, from 1870 to 2015, that's a hell of a lot of time. You might even have family buried on the land there.
That's
Do you know
pretty
what I mean?
harsh.
That's really, it's sad. I understand if it's in quotation marks a security, vantage point, you'd want to acquire that land. But still, that's really sad.
Gosh.
I don't know. So all in all, the information that the US government is been willing to provide about Area 51 is obviously very minimal. Everything is pretty much permanently closed off to civilian and military air traffic, which was interesting. The military air traffic itself is restricted. Obviously, you're going to assume that they maintain security clearances regularly. Cameras and weaponry are obviously not allowed. Even military pilots that are training there, if they stray from the box surrounding the Groom's airspace, they can be detained.
Yeah.
So when you go, it's one of those things where not everyone knows everything about the area, if that makes sense. Like, one person doesn't know everything. People know little parts of the puzzle and how it all fits together. Not one person gets to see everything. And apparently they have buried motion sensors, which makes sense. You'd assume that they'd also have, like, infrared panning across the whole of the valley and everything like that.
Yeah.
But apparently from there, the topographic map of the area only shows the Groom mine that we talk about, because there are a lot of mines in the area, and a civil aviation chart published by the Nevada Department of Transport shows a larger restricted area defined as part of the Nellis restricted airspace, and I have no idea what that is. But the National Atlas page showing federal lands in Nevada shows the areas lying within the Nellis Air Force Base. So when documents that mention the test site and operations at the Groom area are declassified, mentions of Area 51 and the Groom Lake themselves are routinely redacted. So they'll mention, we're doing this at the test site and the area of Groom, but they'll take away Homey Airport and redact that information and black that out. However, the only exception I think they've had thus far was in 1967, which is a memo from the CIA director at the time, Richard Helm, and that was regarding the deployment of 3 Oxcart aircraft from Groom, so that air base there, to Kadena Air Base to perform a recon over North Vietnam. So although most of the home base information is redacted in this document, there is a map showing the aircraft's route from there to, I apologise for butchering this, but I think it's Okinawa? And the redacted appears to have missed one mention on page 15, or page 17 if you're looking at it on the PDF, under section 2. 3 Oxcart aircraft and the necessary task force personnel will be deployed from Area 51 to Kadena.
Jeez. So
someone did not do their job right. And then in the 25th of June in 2013, they released an official history of the U2 and Oxcart projects, and that obviously would acknowledge the existence of Area 51. And the release was in response to the Freedom of Information Act that was submitted in 2005 by Jeffrey T. Richardson of the George Washington University National Security Archive, and that contains numerous references to Area 51 and Groom Lake, along with the map of the area. But I couldn't get any information as to, because of all the new land acquirings, as to what version of the map that was, if that makes sense.
The other thing too is there's a lot of nuclear testing sites out there, and there's certain areas, if you jump on Google Earth and you just have a look, there are a lot of craters in the ground, to say the least. So apparently in December of 2007, airline pilots started noticing that the base had appeared on the aircraft navigation systems, like their latest update and database revision, and it's listed as Homey Airport, and this is the probably inadvertent release of the airport data that led to the advice of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association that pilots should be explicitly warned about it's the identifier code for Homey Airport is KXTA. So if you're for accident... See, I don't understand how they're going to say, someone's accidentally going to fly into this restricted zone, but we're going to tell them what it is anyway. Yeah, that doesn't
You know what I mean?
sense.
Like, I feel like you have to know as part of your license and as part of your... I don't want to call it systems check, let's call it. About what's in the area and what restricted airspace...
what you're not allowed to go
travel through, right?
Yeah.
Because to me that would make logical sense, but I don't understand. So, apparently, so you're going to ask me, what does the perimeter of the base look like? Apparently it's marked out by orange posts, and guards drive around in white pickup trucks and camo fatigues, which is obvious because it's military, right? And apparently, if you watch videos, a lot of people pretend it's like the Dybbuk boxes, but that's a completely different story. You can tell that it's fake. Like, you can tell that they're a few k's away from the perimeter, and they've got guys on like dune buggies and like white trucks and Ford pickups and shit, and they're like, no, like you can tell from the thumbnail, it's hilarious, and they pretend that because they call them camo dudes, and you can so tell it's fake, but I'll tell you what, it's the most, it's funny, it's cringe, but it's funny.
But I mean, like, they would possibly have people in, you know...
Dude, if we went for a freaking 3.5 hour drive from where we are now to Tallis...
Yeah.
Right? And I went up... This is... Shit. Isn't it the Benalla? Isn't it Border Benalla? Or some shit like that? I can't remember. It's definitely on the way to Albury. It's like an hour and a half out of Albury or some shit like that. Can't remember. But if you did that, they would fucking shoot you.
Yeah.
They have the right to do that. And they're not even like a military installation. That's just where the military get their fucking ammo from.
Yeah.
And Tallis sits in Malwala, right? When people are in their ultralights, and it's a holiday destination, and I have been there, and literally 4 times a bloody day, you can hear and see the silos opening up, because these fucking tourists would go into these towns, would cross the airspace, cross into restricted Tallis airspace, so, because it's locked, like, it's an automatic thing, you know what I mean? Like, they have to do it. So 4 or 5 times a day, they have to overwrite the codes because stupid fucking tourists fly over it in the middle of, like, it's a border town between us and New South. And you just go, what on earth? Could you imagine the security precautions that are taken out at Area 51, or should I say Homey Airport?
Yeah.
Like, they would vaporize you.
Yeah, gone.
Imagine the amount of snipers that are out there.
And they'd be worried because the last thing you want is your, you know, weapon infrastructure being kind of messed with.
That, and what else would you get exposed to? But that's
a separate talking point. On the topic of Tallis, I mean, look at things that they design there. It's primarily aerospace, space defence, security, transport. You know, so there's, interesting things.
So apparently, these guards aren't military, but the military has employed contractors.
Yep.
If that makes sense. And apparently their contractors, like the main one is AECOM. I have no idea who they are. Let's have a look. I couldn't... no! I don't want to bookmark this page. Go away. Go away. No, that's... I need to... Sorry guys, I rushed the information for this because you were like, let's do this in, 1 hour. And I'm like, I didn't have anything prepped. What do you stand for? What do you mean? Oh shit, they're here in Australia. Who are you? They're in Docklands.
Yeah, don't cause...
I'm not clicking on this shit, man, because I don't know what any of it she says after she's... I don't know. Guards. Who are these people?
Invisible people.
It is no longer sufficient for military forces and US state national guards and who are highly trained in providing physical security alone. Supporting cities also require... ... Apparently they operate in Northern Territory.
Cool.
Alright, look, I'm not looking for job applications, that's a different story. But apparently, so these are independent contractors that have been employed out, obviously, by the US Air Force. And obviously there's a ton of signage on the perimeter that... Yes, Miss Moss? That talks about, deadly force authorised against trespassers. I just want to know what that deadly force is. Like, are we just talking tasers, or are we talking, like,
fun
lethal?
Stuff. Lethal.
Technology is also used heavily to maintain the border of the base, so obviously CCTV, motion detectors, and some of these are placed some distance away from the base and on public land that other people own to notify guards of people approaching. So, any questions so far? Because we're about to hit the good stuff, like the theory parts.
No,
I'm good. Okay. So, its secretive nature and undoubted connection to classified aircraft research, together with airports, oh my god, reports of unusual phenomena, have led to Area 51, or Homey Airport, to become a focus of like modern unidentified flying phenomena and other conspiracy theories kind of focus.
Yep.
And obviously, because a lot of the activities mentioned in theories at Area 51 are, like, obviously storage, examination, all the reverse engineering of alien, like, spacecraft that has crashed, especially the stuff... We'll get onto the Roswell incident later on.
Well, I think that was the, I think Paul, the movie.
Oh, that's
with,
what that was, yep.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. That's actually a documentary.
Yeah. Yeah, right, okay. What do they call it? The Cornetto trilogy?
Yes.
And apparently they think that there are joint undertakings between humans and extraterrestrials there, and that they trade for alien technology, and that they have weather control there, time travel and teleportation technology, and they have exotic propulsion systems relating to the Aurora program, which we're going to do in a separate podcast. And apparently there's a shadowy One World Government or Majestic 12 operation, which again we're going to do a separate. Apparently Majestic 12 is like, there's a hierarchy of control in the United States, allegedly, according to other leaked CIA documentation. Yeah. And apparently the president is a baby compared to what else is out there.
Yeah.
So there are only, like, they call it Majestic 12 because there are only 12 men in the world that, in the US as world,
yeah.
that know everything, like security, like have the highest security clearance you can have. Yeah. Hence why they're called allegedly Majestic 12. But they're really cool, and I found a ton of stuff that I've, like, saved for that podcast that we'll do whenever you decide to do it.
Yep.
But apparently, they think that the mines are underground facilities, or that the mines disguise kind of underground facilities and stuff like that. And apparently there's a transcontinental underground railroad system, and they have a disappearing airstrip called the Cheshire Airstrip, named after Lewis Carroll's Cheshire Cat. And apparently it briefly appears when water is sprayed onto the camouflaged asphalt.
Ooh.
Allegedly. And apparently this is engineered based on alien technology, but I thought aliens hated water, but that's a different story. So if you look at like satellite imagery that you can Google, it clearly reveals all the landing strips at Groom Dry Lake, but not at Papoose Lake, which is where they say this hidden airstrip is.
Yeah. So
if it's real or not, I have no idea. I don't know if it has to come from a certain direction, like if it's perspective.
It might be.
When you're travelling, maybe it's just lights at the time of things taking off.
Yep.
Like if they have pop-up lights or they turn on lights or something. I don't know if you'd be able to pick that up from satellite imagery. But apparently in the mid-50s, a civilian aircraft flew under 20,000 feet, while military aircraft flew under 40,000 feet. And once the U-2, apparently like the military aircraft was a U-2, and when the U-2 began flying at above 6,000 feet, an unexpected side effect was an increased number of UFO sighting reports. So sightings occurred most often during the evening hours, and when airline pilots flying west saw the U-2's silver wings reflect against the setting sun, it gave the aircraft a fiery appearance. So many sightings and reports came to the US Air Force Project Blue Book, which apparently investigated UFO sightings through air traffic controllers and letters to the government. And this project checked U-2 and Oxcart flight records, and that was used to eliminate like a large majority of UFO reports that it received during the 50s and 60s. Although it could not reveal to the extent that the truth, like anyone can just say, oh, I wrote it off because, I guess just play both sides of the coin. Like you can reason that this is what it was because it matches up with a flight plan or something like that. But at the same time, if all of that information is redacted, how is a flight, what do they call them? An air traffic controller going to write off letters, and Oxcart people are going to write off letters if everything's been redacted? Because you think if something's been redacted, someone who's working there isn't going to know about it because you're not going to have clearance to do it. But I don't know how. I know it's probably logical, but I'm just trying to play both sides of the coin. So I apologise. We are trying to, talk about conspiracies and shit. So, similarly, a lot of experimental projects say that their work and flights and everything like that kind of prompted UFO sightings and rumours, which I guess you can understand because a lot of them now, like the aircraft, they're not like commercial aircraft. Yes, they're sort of long in terms of flight, and obviously you're flying higher and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're a lot narrower and stuff. But at the same time, like, to check out the jet engines, of course it's going to give you a fiery appearance. Like, someone can reason.
And scramjets and everything. And people are using RATOs and JATOs.
And you just go, well,
and
I don't
quickly,
think
in case people don't know what a JATO and a RATO is a jet-assisted takeoff. So, yeah. So, RATO would be a rocket-assisted takeoff. So, there was one where they decided to get a C-10 Hercules off the ground, and they put RATOs on it.
Ew.
And the thing crashed. And
as you do. Me, when I try to get out of bed on a Monday morning. I shouldn't have said that. That's me.
Dead, so,
I redact that earlier statement. So, apparently, because of the shape of Oxcart, apparently it's described as being wide, having a disc-like fuselage, which is designed to carry, obviously, a large amount of fuel, because that thing would burn like a Hummer.
Heaps.
In the early 2000s, in the fuel crisis. So that would make sense. Yep. And I can understand, like, if you've never seen an aircraft before, and it's, in quotation marks, secret aircraft.
Yeah.
There are times when we kind of go, I say it jokingly to freak people out. I'm like, oh my god, a UFO! And I actually did it to my mother once when she was driving me, like, she picked me up and we were going to my grandmother's house from home here. And she was like, oh my god, what are you talking about? And she's like, you stupid fucking idiot, don't scare me like that. It's just a plane, like it was a Qantas plane. And I'm like, but you wouldn't know, like a little bit of glare from the sun, but you know, that's a different thing. So, and obviously because how a lot of the planes have titanium parts and panels to their bodies, so that would reflect and diffract the sun's rays in a way that would make it look like it's something that's been like an unidentified flying phenomena.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. But people believe that the rumours help maintain secrecy over what is actually going on in the Homey airfield, and veterans are obviously going to deny the existence of, you know, the expanse, the vast expanse that's the proposed underground railroad system. And obviously they say that Area 51's operations do not occur. They say that they do, they did and presumably do. Sorry, I'm an idiot. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Still occur underground. But I guess a lot of people, I don't know, like a lot of people say that they, like, apparently there's this guy called Bob Lazar who is a massive ufologist, and he claimed in 1989 that he had worked at Area 51 in Sector 4, which is apparently underground and inside the Papoose Range, near the Papoose Lakes, which is where we're saying that this secret camo airstrip is, that you need to add H2O, just add water.
Yeah.
And he said that he was contracted to work with alien spacecraft that the US government had in its possession. And I'm sorry, but if you were a guy who had touched UFO technology, presuming, let's just, you know, presume it exists, no, you would never be able to go out in general public again.
You wouldn't.
That's past Black Ops.
Yeah, you are.
That is past.
See,
recon. Here's the
thing. As much as, okay, the whole thing, is there extraterrestrial life? Is there intelligent life?
No one who's, in quotation marks, worked there is going to be allowed to say that shit.
No.
The fact that he's still alive right now, claiming the shit, and no one's done something or, in quotation marks, handled the situation. Not that I'm wishing anything to happen to this man. That's not what I'm saying. But it doesn't sense me.
No. Plus, the other thing, there are people out there that don't want to know if this stuff is actually valid.
Do you reckon people don't want to know?
Yeah.
Or is it just because they're afraid of the unknown? Sorry, I'm just getting my child.
A lot of people are afraid of the unknown, but the fact is that if there is, you know, stuff out there that we don't understand, people don't like that.
Because people want to know everything.
Yeah.
They want to be sure of what's happening.
They want to know that they're safe.
But I don't believe that there's this guy who's, like, he's really prominent in this whole UFO Area 51 conspiracy alien technology thing. And everyone, like, cites him. And everyone thinks he's legit. And I'm just saying, where are your papers? Show me your pay slips.
Yeah.
Show me the receipts. So apparently in 1996, there was a documentary called Dreamland, which is one of the code names that they used, like Paradise Ranch or whatever it was. So apparently this... it's directed by this guy called Bruce Burgess, and it contained an interview with a 71-year-old mech engineer who claimed to be a former employee at Area 51 during the 50s. And his claims included that he worked on a flying disc simulator which had been based on a disc originating from crashed extraterrestrial craft and was used to train US pilots. He also claimed to have worked with extraterrestrial being named J-Rod, and he described him as a telepathic translator. And I'm sorry, but the only thing that to me is disc-like that a pilot would train in is a centrifuge G-force trainer simulator.
Yeah, fly around in that. Yeah, that'd be pretty much
And I'm pretty sure they have to go in that to prove and train their bodies to resist certain G-forces before they chuck them in fighter pilots.
Yes.
Because the last thing that they're going to do is put someone that they've trained millions of dollars, you know, costing this person to train, into millions of dollars worth of research and development, the aircraft alone.
Yep.
And just be like, oh, this guy's not going to be able to pull, I don't know how many Gs that they have to pull to be qualified into the program. Let's estimate and say it's 5 Gs, right? And they're going to put a guy that can't, you know, fly at 5 Gs, pull 5 Gs like it's bread and butter, into this bloody plane, send him off around the world for a 45-minute round trip, and think he's going to pass out.
No.
That's not how it works. Okay? So, no. That I'm definitely saying is the spin. But then we can also argue, is that alien technology?
Yeah.
Was G-force training put in the early 50s? We don't know. We don't know these things. So apparently in 2004, this guy called Dan Burish, but he wrote as Dan Crane, that was his pseudonym, he claimed to have worked on cloning alien viruses at Area 51 alongside an alien named J-Rod. How convenient. But his scholarly credentials are pretty much debated, and apparently he's working as a Vegas parole officer in 1989, but he also earned a PhD at State University of New York. So, I don't know. So basically, I gate crashed a lot of things that I thought people would want to know into, I think, 9 or 10 what I'm going to call frequent answers and questions about Area 51.
Yep.
So basically, you're going to ask me, okay, so there's Area 51, so where are the other 50 areas?
Exactly, like Area 19, I think, is what's it called? Frenchman Flat or something?
Yep. So apparently, that was, again, like what we said, the numbering, naming thing. Someone put it down as 15, but then you could also argue, where are the other 14 areas? Yep. People are saying that those other areas, the other 14 or the other 50, may correspond to sectors within the Nevada test site, and maybe sites where nuclear, what would you call them, bombs? Warheads?
Test sites.
Like, you know, where you drop...
Yeah, if you were to drop...
what do you call it? Artillery? It's not
Frenchman
artillery.
Flat, there was a nuclear bomb that was dropped there.
But the actual, like, site where the bomb
impact,
lands...
the crater.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's what people are saying in the other areas. So, to make up numbers, that's what people think. But then it's like, how many nuclear bombs can someone launch into the ground before it's
And a lot of them may have even been under the ground.
True. So, where did this alien conspiracy Area 51 thing get started? I've put a link here for us. I can also include it in the podcast links for you, because it blew my mind. I have never seen anything like a newspaper so old before, but apparently if you go to Google News, it's on there. So basically, actual nuclear tests aren't scary enough, So Area 51's major claim to fame is an alleged extraterrestrial technology research site that started on July of 1947 when Roswell Daily Record's front page headline screamed, "RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region." And the US military claimed that the unidentified crashed object was just a weather balloon, but conspiracy theorists such as myself insisted it was an alien spacecraft, and that was taken from the Roswell Ranch to Area 51 for reverse engineering. And apparently there was, people hypothesized that there was a large-eyed grey alien inside. Yeah. But in September of 1994, the Air Force released a report with a story saying that the wreckage was a balloon, but not an ordinary weather balloon. Instead, it was an atomic monitoring balloon meant to detect far-off nuclear testing blasts, which would make sense if they're testing nuclear ordnance. That's the word, ordnance. If they're testing nuclear ordnance, they want to know how far the wave projects too, right? So if you go to this actual link, they have pictures of other stuff. I want you to go to the top of the page 18, right, which I've linked. That's going to become important in a moment. So they're going to say that, people are saying that there's no good evidence to say that people are capturing Area 51, capturing UFOs and chucking them into Area 51, but we do know that they're reverse engineering other stuff, and they have secretive project. Listen to the names of these: have donut, have drill, have ferry. Can you not come up with something cooler?
Nope, they can't.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
pretty
know.
hard to do.
So you're gonna ask me, why did this conspiracy take so long to pick up traction? Because it didn't really get its extraterrestrial kind of reputation until the late 80s, when this Rob Lazar dude came out and said, "Oh my god, I worked in Sector 4 of Area 51 and I helped reverse engineer, crashed alien aircraft and stuff." And then he pretty much fabricated everything. He says that he graduated from MIT and Caltech, but people have approached MIT and Caltech, and at the time, because MIT and Caltech are some of the biggest science STEM, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics universities in the world. So for someone to come and say, "We're a student, I have degrees from this place," they're going to say, "I fucking think not."
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, look, if people are ripping off, like we discussed, honorary degrees to people like James fucking Watson, what are they going to do to an idiot who actually has no credentials whatsoever?
Yeah.
That's a separate bloody story. And then so he says that he worked for the Los Alamos National Library Laboratory, but that also turned out to be false. So basically, who is Area 51 or Homey Airport affecting the most? And bottom line, I'm going to say it's the camo dudes. Because what they wear on their job, that's their name. But apparently, given the stealth aircraft kind of site, that makes sense because you're going to have stealth systems on there, right?
Don't forget they'll have drones flying around as well.
However, a lot of them, people have found documentation where they've sought compensation for breathing problems because they've experienced exposure to toxic chemicals from the burning of the coatings that shield the aircraft from radar.
Jeez.
So then breathing that in. I wasn't able to find the documentation myself. I can keep looking for it. But apparently people found, them getting compensation. And apparently this guy, tracked it and tracked where the money came from and basic bank account numbers. But at the same time, no one's going to give out their bank account numbers on the internet or anything like that.
No, they won't.
So I don't know how, real that is before I chase that up. But apparently that would make sense, though, because you hear a lot of people, burning and stuff. But apparently it's also tied to the moon landing conspiracy, because that's where they think that the moon landing was staged.
Well, they were in a race with the Soviets, so it was either the USSR or America. There you
Pretty
go.
Much.
Cold War.
So it's pretty much still tied to the military today, as we've already said, and it's, you know, got a cluster of airstrip test sites. The Department of Defense and Department of Homeland Security apparently have installations on the site, and apparently that's where they fly a lot of recon drones and test the sensors and stuff like that. So today, apparently, that's where they train aircraft crews in combat scenarios, in live munitions training, which makes sense because you don't want to fire off rockets and ammo and then, oh shit, there's a civilian house.
Yeah, whoops.
So that does make sense that it would happen, really, because they have to test that somewhere. Do you know what I mean? That has to be done somewhere. You don't just go on a simulator and then they say, here are the keys, you know, no. You're on this $1 billion aircraft vehicle, but whatever. So apparently they also test helicopters there, like commercial airplanes, because of how the runway is and stuff like that. And apparently unmanned drones and other top secret military technologies and whatnot. And apparently the U-2 spy plane and ultra high altitude aircraft that are used for like military recon fly off from there. So apparently, according to Google Earth, you can still see how neatly everything is kept. You can actually see like people have uploaded screenshots, screen grabs of Google Earth satellite imagery over the years, so you can see as the perimeter expands and renovations, and as like the installations are built up and renovations that occur on site and construction. Yeah. So basically, if it's not a conspiracy, why do people think it's really an alien testing facility?
Also, interesting fact, did you know that there's been approximately 2,600 nuclear detonations?
Only 2,600? No. There has to be more than that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, okay, maybe more. Maybe there's been like maybe 2,700.
Where are you getting this information from?
Well, there's one that's from 2016.
No, what site?
From The Independent.
Oh. Maybe it's Australia. Maybe that's in Australia, because I doubt that would be worldwide, right? Not that I'm encouraging any nation or peoples to detonate any kind of ordnance.
Well, as a mark, the first nuclear detonation was the Trinity test in 1945.
That was in Bikini, wasn't it?
By the United States Army.
In Bikini?
Bikini Atoll.
Yeah.
I know. But I know that
that's the first one that they filmed, wasn't it?
I think
and that
so.
was where the original mushroom cloud imagery came out of.
In Bikini
Atoll. And then the people that live on Bikini still experiencing effects.
Yeah.
And no one's getting compensation for that. And we're talking generations of people. But that's okay.
All the troops that were actually in, trenches when all the fallout went over them.
And they had no idea what to expect. Yeah. And you go, no disrespect to anyone who has, fought for their country or for the Allies or whatever. But no shit, you fucking dickheads.
Yeah.
If you're going to drop that on someone else with the intent to kill them, that shit's going to go somewhere. It's not going to be like, we stopped at enemy lines. We're just going to infect enemy line. No. Where do you think that was going to go? But I guess they had to test this shit because at the same time, people had other conspiracies that they thought were fucking real that weren't.
Yep.
But, whatever. People are just dumb. And those people probably had no idea what they were signing themselves up for. A lot of the military back then were just young guys who just wanted to go out, see the world, get paid a decent amount, do something that, would be considered respectable. Not that I'm saying being in the military or any other armed forces, whatever, police. I'm not saying it's not respectable now. But I'm saying back then, that was like one of the only guaranteed career paths.
Yeah.
To do stuff. And it's like, they take advantage of a lot of people. Yeah. And a lot of it is, they still do to this day, we didn't know.
Yeah.
It was unforeseen.
We didn't know. We
didn't have the technology.
And then you look at the
We hadn't done the research. We needed years for the damage to accumulate.
and then you see the damage, and you just like the initial damage tests, and then as it stands, there are only 2 nuclear, I suppose, bombs that were dropped during wartime, and Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I mean, we saw the fallout from that. Basically nearly killed 250,000 people. 20,000 of whom were, civilians.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
It's basically you flex your muscles. People have now seen what a nuclear blast can do, so it's the fear of a nuclear blast, because once a nuclear blast goes off, you can't
reverse that.
You can't reverse it, and you can't defend against it. It's
People are dumb, and instead of understanding you want to secure your nation and you want to help your allies be secure and stuff like that, but at the same time, these billions of dollars that you're buying these protons and shit, how about you feed your poor people? How about you guarantee them housing? How about you support your own people? Look in your own backyard. You're not exactly taking care of your own people to decide that, it just infuriates me. But getting back to the point so I can tie this up. Sorry. So a lot of people say that the government's need to keep the base secret is just where was I going with this? Honestly, can't even remember.
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy, indeed.
Yeah, so basically it was to tie up whether or not there is in fact aliens. Is it all a cover-up? Or is it just all military, infrastructure?
This is what I was going to say. So apparently Hillary Clinton, she wanted in on a piece of the action. And in the 2016 race, she, as a candidate, said that she wanted to make more files about Area 51 public. And this is a quote saying, "I would like us to go into these files and hopefully there is as much of that public as possible. If there's nothing there, let's tell people there's nothing there." And that's what she told Jimmy Kimmel on Jimmy Kimmel Live in August. And apparently Bill Clinton was an advocate for looking on information of government knowledge and extraterrestrials during his presidency, but he wasn't given any information about it. So basically, bottom line, if you're a tourist and you want to go visit, how close can you get? So you can drive up to the front and back gates. Just don't go in, okay? Please don't do that. Because you can... Look, if they don't shoot you on sight, which I'm not saying they're going to do to everyone, and I'm not saying test it out and let's see what the ratio of gunshots to whatever is. But basically, you can get... You will get arrested. You can pay you'll be forced to pay a $1,000 fine, or 6 months in prison, or both. And basically, it's very heavily policed. The signage is, ouch, my toe, very, very clear. And apparently, there are a lot of the circle, like the neighbouring towns, that do a lot of stuff, and they have a lot of campouts to see if they can see any technology or anything like that.
Yeah.
And any sightings and whatnot. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. That's all I found on that. So, to tie this up for myself, if we go back to this this news article that I told you to save, right? The top of the page. It allegedly, it was an image that was taken during the Roswell report, and it allegedly shows dummies, in quotation marks, in insulation bags to, this is a quote, to protect temperature-sensitive equipment. Which is a little suspicious if you ask me, because that equipment just fell from the sky.
Yeah.
Anything that was perfectly calibrated
is...
in, what year is this? Shit. What year? What? Honestly, it said it at the top of the paper, but now it's blurred out.
1997.
Oh, 1990, but this was when it was added to the Google News, right? So this was way before then. I'm sorry, but no, that's all I'm you know, that's a little suspicious. And all of this just makes me want to marathon the X-Files. And I kind of like want to look into Pine Gap, which is apparently Australia's equivalent of Area 51. And apparently there's also a sci-fi horror found footage movie called Area 51 that was made by the producers of Paranormal Activity. Came out in 2015. It looks kind of like watered down, but I'm going to go see if I can get that.
So, also too, what if they were saying that the temperature-sensitive equipment was the pilots, and because of the tech they had on them...
Well, this is apparently from the air balloon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would make sense that you have dummies in there because they're doing for crashes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they have these, I don't think that they're called membranes, but they mimic what your eardrum would do. And like if they use them a lot in Ghostbusters. Could you fucking imagine? They used them a lot in Mythbusters.
Yeah. And
if the membrane ruptures, you can clearly see if someone is affected or not.
Yep.
But like, I don't know. A lot of people were saying these are body bags being used to recover alien victims from the crash of a flying saucer, and that's the Air Force file photo. I just thought it was.
It is cool to look back and sort of see, sort of, you know, things that have happened, and then people have like blown everything out of proportion. So imagine if there was a secret code in that message.
If anyone can decode it, I ain't smart enough to do that. Be my guest. We'll petition Dan Bilzerian to take us down. Because he's the only guy in Vegas with enough money and stupidity to host this.
Yeah.
And I've always said that I wanted Dan Bilzerian to help me break into... I'm joking. I'm joking, Azia, when I say this. I don't mean...
Hello, Azia.
But, yeah, just... Come on.
But, you know, what happens if it doesn't turn out to be... Ooh! What happens if it turns out to be the Nazi bell that crashed? That's another podcast right there.
Add it to the list of topics, because you suggest all this stuff, and then you're like, oh, what did I talk about, Steph? And then I'm like, I'm left with, I don't know, mate.
So, essentially, who wants to go out into the desert?
Not me. I don't belong in the desert.
Bunkers. Like the fact that NORAD gets used, you know, in so many movies, and then they kind of, you know, put it back in action. Really cool. Very, very cool. Be interesting to see sort of how much damage that thing can take. I assume it's a lot.
What, NORAD?
Yeah. Cheyenne Mountain. NORAD is in Cheyenne Mountain.
Apparently they do alien stuff there underground too.
Yeah, they all do alien stuff underground.
Add it to the list, that's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Add it to the list. Oh shit! It is!
Yeah.
It's the only way in or out is a tunnel.
Yeah.
Look, this isn't... I'm not going to start reading facts out now because that's a different podcast. Add it to the list, and I'm going to try and break it up so we're not just doing like aliens. I'll spread it out a little bit, but I kind of... What do you want the next week's topic to be on? I kind of want to do it on something scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Let's see. What would it be?
Or do you want to do it on something weird like Atlantis?
Oh, we could do Atlantis. That'd be cool. Maybe Atlantis.
I have a list of stuff there. I also wanted to do like... we have a list, so I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But like, I'll get him to decide for something that's there.
Yep.
And it's the end of the page. So you choose something, highlight it.
Done.
Just so I can do my research. But apart from that, that's all I had prepped today.
Yeah, that was a good prep.
Thanks. Yeah. Sorry it wasn't like as paraphrased as I would have liked it to be. I was literally, when you were like, we're recording, this was on Sunday afternoon, where you were like, let's record the podcast, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't prepped for anything. I was planning on doing it on Friday night, but then I just couldn't be asked after being in the lab all week, and I was just like, I can't look at my computer screen for another 2 hours to do this.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think we should sign off.
Yeah.
I have a 6 o'clock start tomorrow. I need to shower. I need to feed the floofs. I apologise again that the fridge has been going on. But look, when we move, you're not going to have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah,
it's just because it's summer right now.
Yeah.
It's really warm.
It'll be a quiet fridge.
So, anything else?
No, that's cool.
Any other closing comments? What do you think after all the information I told you today?
I just think it's all military testing. You need lots of space. America's got lots of infrastructure. They got the money. It's always...
And also, they're not going to put an alien tech base only 134 k's away from one of the biggest cities in the state, in the country.
And the fact you can find it on Google Earth, it wouldn't be visible. Anything that...
Were they part of the Fitbit breach?
I don't know. But maybe that's something we can look up next time. Because that would be very funny to see. They may have been. They were. You'd be showing where all the traffic is.
Yep.
Fitbit, see? Pays to be lazy.
Jesus. What do you do?
I don't know.
People are dumb. People just don't get it. Anyway, Hazel, I think we're done there.
Yep.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I really like that, we've been consistent, and I like the 8 p.m. on a Sunday, but if anyone has another time that they prefer on a Sunday, I prefer to have it, on a Sunday evening or late afternoon, and this that way people have something to listen to during the week if they want. That's all. On your commute to work or school or doing stuff at home, being an adult or young kid that you are. But apart from that, thank you so much, everyone. I apologise. We're literally tired and overheated and heat stroke, and I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I can't brain. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for listening to our ramblings, and you shall hear our annoying voices this time next week.
Yes.
Au revoir. Ta-ta for now. And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
If I hadn't said that already, which I'm pretty sure we had.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.